Welcome to the Guaranteed Irish Business Podcast, where each week we're joined by the amazing leaders of Guaranteed Irish member businesses to chat all things business, sustainability, buying Irish, promoting Irish jobs, community, provenance, and so much more. Sponsored by FBD Insurance, Ireland's largest homegrown insurer. Support, it's what we do.
Hi there, my name is Maireád O'Connell, and this month, January, is Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Month in Guaranteed Irish, where we celebrate the fantastic pharmaceutical companies in Ireland which support Irish jobs, communities and provenance. This month is sponsored by MSD Ireland, and joining me is Maireád McCall, Managing Director of MSD Ireland. So Maireád, thanks for coming in to join us today. Tell us a little bit more about MSD Ireland. Where did the company originate from, and what are your core values in the organisation?
So MSD was actually founded in the US in 1891 by our founder George Merck. We've been in Ireland since 1974. We now have 5 manufacturing sites and 7 sites in total around Ireland. One of them is our commercial head office, which is over in Leopardstown, and we also have another data labs facility, which is part of our animal health network over in Blackrock in County Dublin as well.
Okay, so a large number of employees there. How many are you employing at the moment?
So the latest numbers are we have just under 3,000. They're the official latest numbers. So we've seen a lot of growth over the last while, a lot of new hires as well.
And what are the benefits then of MSD of being a Guaranteed Irish member?
So the core benefits for MSD as a Guaranteed Irish member are, you know, we are geographically spread. We're around the regions. We're not concentrated in any one particular area. So the benefits for us is really to leverage and to harness that presence that we have in Ireland. Ireland is very significant in terms of MSD's global operations as well.
And under your leadership, Maireád, you've really gone through a massive growth phase. It's been really successful in the last few years. Has that been as a result of COVID, or how did you navigate your way through COVID, a testing time for any business leader?
Well, COVID was challenging, I think, for all of us. Sometimes we like to think that, you know, it's all over, but I think as we've seen over the last few weeks, you know, COVID is still around. I took on my role as managing director in December 2020, so right in the middle of COVID. So that was a challenging time, you know, to take on the new role. We were working virtually from March of 2020, you know, in the commercial organisation. But in the manufacturing facilities, obviously, business had to continue. We have patients that depend on us, not only in Ireland, but globally as well. And the key learning, I think, for me, from a COVID point of view, was, you know, really the centrality of Ireland in the global supply chain. And it was great, you know, that the supply chain continued and our operations continued very successfully.
Actually, that's a very good point you're making on behalf of pharmaceuticals based here in Ireland. Is that something that has been dialed up a little bit more by the pharmaceutical industry based here, in the sense of using Ireland as such a central hub to reach their global, I suppose, export markets?
Well, Ireland, as you know, is really huge when it comes to pharmaceutical manufacturing and innovation. So I think what it did in Ireland, you know, we have a long heritage with the industry here in Ireland. But I think what really COVID did was it shone the spotlight on Ireland and the extent of the Irish operations for many different manufacturers here in Ireland, and the impact that we have from a global perspective.
So a huge setup and a huge employer for sure, across so many walks of life and so many skill sets. Are you finding it difficult to recruit, or where are we in the pharmaceutical sector now in Ireland?
Well, you know, the pharmaceutical sector is buoyant. There is a war for talent within Ireland. But I think, you know, we're really well set up. You know, Ireland has a really high percentage of STEM graduates, and that just didn't happen overnight. You know, this was down to strong collaboration between industry, between government, and also between academia. So this is something that Ireland Inc. have actively worked in terms of, you know, making sure that we remain attractive, for the pharmaceutical sector.
Well, it's great to see such forward planning coming out of the pharmaceutical sector, and very often you're not given credit for that. So I take my hats off to the members there in that sector for doing that and thinking, I suppose, of putting a little bit of forward planning, and maybe that's part of the contribution as a group when you network together, that that forward planning is allowing you to be so successful, as opposed to crisis management or firefighting, as a lot of sectors go through. You've had a lot of growth in the last 12 months. The next 12 months under your leadership, Maireád, what is the big plan for MSD Ireland going into 2023?
Well, we've had a significant number of milestones within our network in Ireland over the last while. We've had significant announcements in terms of expansion as well. So really, it's to ensure, that we deliver for MSD, but that we also deliver for those patients who depend on us globally. And one of the things you did ask, at the beginning was around our values. And if I was to summarise our values, we have very much the focus is that the patient comes first, and that is really critical. And that goes back, I referenced our founder back in 1891, and one of the things that he referenced was that patients must come first, and we can never forget that what we're doing is ultimately for patients, and that's something that is still very strong within our culture.
Now, I need to talk to you, Maireád, about sustainability. It's been very important to Guaranteed Irish in the last number of years. It's very important to our country. It's very important to us as citizens. And I know that MSD is very strong on driving and leading the whole role of sustainability within the organisation. Tell us a little bit about the work that you've done so far.
Well, I'm sure, Bríd, you've seen some of the announcements in terms of what we've done from a sustainability perspective. It's an area that we take really, really seriously. And it's an area that we recognise that it's not MSD per se, it's not just the leadership. Each of us as employees in Ireland have a role to play within that sustainability journey. We have I'll just highlight a couple of things. We have a sustainable garden, for example, out in MSD in Dunboyne, where there are outdoor meeting pods, for example, that are solar powered. So the electricity comes purely from solar. And then we launched our solar farm down in MSD in Ballydyne in September last year. So
I saw
that was
on the media.
significant.
That looked really good and really interesting. It got lots of coverage.
But just going back to the piece that I mentioned as well, Bríd, in terms of everyone's responsibility, one of the things that we have as a country team, is an initiative and a project. We call it See Green, Be Green. We've actually won a number of awards for that particular initiative that we've had. And that's really about driving collaboration across our sites, looking at each site individually and looking at ourselves individually as well to understand how we can make sure that we are contributing to our sustainability goals. And that's everything from water usage, it's everything from composting, it's everything from the food that's available around the sites in Ireland as well. So
single-use cups, all that type of thing.
And all that sort of stuff.
Very good. Okay. Well, it's really putting the onus back on the individual then.
Certainly, yeah. And that accountability and ownership is really important.
So, Maireád, the pharmaceutical sector in Ireland employs over 25,000 people, 20% of which are actual members of Guaranteed Irish, believe it or not. In your opinion, why is this sector so successful in Ireland at the moment?
Well, I think it goes back to the point that I made earlier. It was, a real collaborative effort, between government, between academia and between industry as well. Very much an emphasis in Ireland has been on STEM education. We have one of the highest level of graduates for STEM subjects in Europe. So, the success is really down to that, but I suppose the key to that, you can have all those things in place, but the key to that really is how we deliver operationally. And Ireland has been proven time and time again to deliver from an operational perspective.
And we do seem to have got some kind of a gold star in that area. Is that just years and years of experience and I suppose the acumen is there now?
Yeah, it is, and if you look at organisations like NIBRT as well, the work that the IDA do, and it really has built up, and success breeds success, and that's certainly what we've seen here in Ireland.
Absolutely. And as mentioned also earlier in the conversation, January is our healthcare and pharmaceutical month in Guaranteed Irish, and MSD, of course, are the main sponsor of all we're doing this month. So what's one key message you would like our listeners to take away from this episode relating to the impact of pharmaceuticals and the pharma industry in Ireland in general?
Yeah, well, I think, as we discussed earlier, Breed, the impact that we have in Ireland globally really was shone, or a spotlight was shone on that during COVID. The key thing is, there are very successful operations here. We're very proud of the impact that we have here in Ireland, not just the impact that we have for our employees, but also the impact that we have, for the communities in which we operate. That's really important to us as well. And also, ultimately the impact that we have for patients.
Well, ultimately, that's the end goal. But also, I suppose, the fact that you've so many regional hubs and business or production sites around the country, it's a huge regional employer, and great credit due to MSD and all the growth that's going on there. But they really are creating a lifestyle outside of Dublin for people, really high level graduates, to be employed and have a really good lifestyle outside of Dublin.
And I think that goes back to the whole sustainability message as well. People can be employed in regional areas, companies not just such as MSD, but other pharmaceutical companies as well. And I think that's really important. You're eliminating that massive commute and the impact of that commute to people's lives, to our collective carbon footprint as well, when they have that good high value jobs in their local area.
And we need to see a lot more of that. So well done to MSD Ireland. And the regions have so much to offer. So really, really good positive news starting off the year. Coming up at the end of January is our Pharmaceutical Forum, which you yourself are hosting as MC. What do events like this mean to you, where you're connecting with other pharmaceutical leaders and other, I suppose, people in that space where there's more opportunity to collaborate?
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you, Breed, and to Guaranteed Irish as well for inviting me to facilitate that discussion. I'm really looking forward to it. It's the first in-person one that we'll have had in a number of years. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier in terms of lessons learned during COVID, the thing that I've learned is certainly I like that face-to-face connection. So I'm really looking forward to it. We'll have, I think, a really great discussion on the day. We have, a broad number of panelists as well, so I'm really excited about it. I believe the registrations are really strong as well, so really looking forward to the event.
And it's a great opportunity for collaboration, I find. We host many of these in different sectors, but particularly for the pharmaceutical one, it's nice when you see that I suppose, collection of big brain thinking on the pharmaceutical sector and the leaders of the country, I suppose, in that space, working together to deliver better for the patients at the end of the day. So well done to MSD on that, and thank you for the support and the sponsorship of it. In terms of the topic of the event, the pharmaceutical industry in Ireland, what's next? And you're joining the panel as MC. What are you looking forward to on the day, and what do you think is next, and in terms of what's going to come out of it, and what are the big topics of the conversation going to be?
I think, we have, a number of panelists from a broad spectrum of organisations that have interest and impact for the industry here in Ireland. I think, the what's next for the industry is a lot of opportunity, but we have to be mindful of the challenges as well. The opportunity, I think, for Ireland to continue to be that beacon for innovation, to be that beacon for scientific and manufacturing excellence as well. So that's a very exciting, a very exciting landscape, I think, as we look ahead. So we without a doubt, there will be challenges as well. I referenced earlier the challenges in terms of having enough people to fill the roles within the industry. We also referenced as well some of the environment that's really important, and that environment in terms of innovation, and Ireland to be seen as a place that welcomes and embraces innovation, not only just from a manufacturing perspective, but also making sure that the innovations that are manufactured here get to patients in Ireland in a timely fashion.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great note on which to end. And I wish you every success, Maireád McCall, Managing Director of MSD Ireland. And I think the future is bright as long as all of these country leads and managing directors of the pharmaceutical industry are working collaboratively with the government to make sure that the hard efforts actually get to the end goal, which is the patient. Thank you so much for joining me, Maireád.
Thank you, Breed.
The Guaranteed Irish Business Podcast, sponsored by FBD Insurance, Ireland's largest homegrown insurer. Support. It's what we do.